I'm not a royal watcher. I don't really pay attention to each other, and the love that they have is really, really moving. And I just wanted to do anything I could to support them.
And that
There's so much more she could have said, but because she's such
It happened in the middle of the night. No announcement, no carefully crafted Instagram post, nothing. Prince Harry boarded a private jet at a small California airport and just disappeared into the sky. Destination: London, alone. No Meghan, no kids, no security detail trailing behind him like usual. Just Harry, a duffel bag, and whatever was left of his sanity. Palace insiders would not confirm it at first, but the whispers started immediately. He is back in the UK, he is staying at some countryside estate, and he has been making calls. And here is the thing that nobody can stop talking about. He was not running from the royals this time. He was running back to them. After years of interviews, tell-all books, and Netflix documentaries painting his family as the villains, Harry suddenly wanted to be as far from California as possible. So what changed? What could possibly make the man who burned every bridge with the monarchy suddenly flee back across the Atlantic like his life depended on it? Two words: Tyler Perry. The billionaire mogul who once opened his home, his private jet, and his entire support system to Harry and Meghan when they first escaped royal life. The man Meghan called her protector, her rock, her savior in their darkest hour. That same man just detonated a bomb that is tearing apart everything the Sussexes built. And now Harry is absolutely spiraling. Before we get into what Tyler just exposed, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because what is coming is absolutely wild. Drop a like if you are already hooked. Trust me, you do not want to miss this. Here is what most people do not understand about Tyler Perry. He is not some celebrity looking for attention or drama. He is a businessman who has been burned before, who has learned that in Hollywood, loyalty is a transaction, and keeping track of things is survival. When you have built an empire from nothing, you do not get there by being careless. You get there by being smart, by understanding that protection is not paranoia, it is just good business. So, when Harry and Meghan showed up desperate and displaced in 2020, needing somewhere to hide from the media firestorm that was absolutely eating them alive, Perry did not just hand them the keys to his $18 million Beverly Hills mansion out of pure kindness. Do not get me wrong, he absolutely helped them. He gave them safety when literally nobody else would touch them. He opened his home, offered his private jet, and gave them access to his entire support system at a time when half of Hollywood wanted nothing to do with the runaway royals. Think about their position. They had just left the most famous family on the planet. The British press was tearing them apart daily. They had no home, no security plan, and no idea where they would land. They were basically refugees from royalty, and Perry stepped up when nobody else would. He became Lilibet's godfather. That is not casual friendship, that is family. He was featured in their glowing Netflix montages, positioned as the hero of their escape story. The man Meghan tearfully called her protector, her rock, the one person who showed up when they had nowhere else to turn. Perry gave them privacy, resources, and his personal credibility when their reputation was absolutely tanking. But here is the thing, Perry is not naive. He did not get to where he is by taking people at face value. During the months Harry and Meghan lived in his home, he kept track of conversations. Not because he was plotting against them, but because he understood something they clearly did not. In his world, friendship without keeping track is just exposure waiting to happen. He had recordings of meetings they held in his home. He kept footage from their preparation sessions for major interviews, and he had notes from strategy sessions they worked on together. This was not some creepy surveillance operation. This was a businessman protecting himself. Perry watched them strategize about their next moves, cry over their situation with the palace, and plan out how they would rebuild their lives. And he made sure he had all of it. Because the one thing Tyler Perry has learned from decades in entertainment is that people will rewrite history the second it benefits them. Memory gets convenient when the narrative needs to shift, stories get adjusted, and the narrative shifts to whoever is telling it loudest. Today's ally becomes tomorrow's forgotten footnote. And when Meghan did exactly that, when she systematically rewrote their entire connection like it never mattered, She handed him everything he needed without even realizing it. She triggered the exact thing he had been quietly protecting himself against from day one. It started quietly, so subtly that most people did not even notice at first. Tyler Perry's name began vanishing from the Sussex narrative. And I am not talking about a gradual fade, this was intentional. One month, he is being mentioned in press releases as Lilibet's godfather, featured in glowing Netflix montages, and positioned as the hero of their escape story. Meghan is talking about him in interviews with tears in her eyes. The next month, silence. Total radio silence. Photos got archived, social media posts were edited or just straight up deleted. Even Lilibet's Wikipedia page was quietly scrubbed clean of any mention of Uncle Tyler. Someone went through and systematically removed his name from places where it used to be front and center. It was surgical, calculated, and absolutely ruthless. The kind of eraser that does not happen by accident. It takes planning, coordination, and a whole team making sure every trace disappears. But why would Meghan suddenly erase the man who literally saved them, the guy who opened his home when they had nowhere to go? Here is the thing. Meghan's team decided his name had become complicated. They wanted a cleaner narrative, a simpler story that did not have any messy associations. And Perry, he did not fit that story anymore. He became inconvenient. So, they made a call, cut ties, protect the brand, and distance immediately. They moved fast, removing every trace of their connection to Perry like he was some kind of problem they needed to bury before anyone asked too many questions. To the public, it looked like smart crisis management, just another celebrity friendship that quietly faded away. Nothing to see here. People drift apart all the time, right? Especially in Hollywood, where relationships are basically transactions anyway. Nobody thought twice about it. But to Tyler Perry, it looked like betrayal. Complete and total betrayal. The kind that cuts deep because he had actually cared about them. This was the man who risked his reputation to shelter them when nobody else would. Tyler Perry was one of the few A-listers who loudly defended Harry and Meghan after the Oprah interview. He gave them a home, a private jet, safety, privacy, resources, and his personal credibility at a time when half of Hollywood wanted nothing to do with them. When they were radioactive, when associating with them meant potential backlash, Perry stood up anyway. He put his name on the line. He opened his home for months, not days. And the moment it became convenient to pretend he never existed, they ghosted him completely, erased him like he never existed, like those months in his mansion meant nothing. Like all those tearful phone calls, all those late-night strategy sessions, all that support and protection, none of it mattered anymore. He was just collateral damage in their brand protection strategy. But here is what Meghan's public relations team forgot. Perry is not the type to just take that quietly. By systematically erasing him, they did exactly what he had been prepared for from day one. They thought they were protecting their image. What they actually did was unlock the vault, and Perry did not waste any time. That is when the first tape dropped and everything changed. 58 seconds. That is all it took to destroy years of carefully crafted narrative. Perry released an audio recording from their time in his home, and the moment people heard it, everything Harry and Meghan had been selling to the world started falling apart. We are talking about a complete unraveling of their entire story. On the tape, Harry's voice is clear, describing his life at the palace. He sounds relaxed, even casual. But what he is saying is completely different from what he told Oprah, from what is in his book, from the whole victim narrative he had been pushing. It is like listening to two different people talking about two different families. On the recording, he is talking about palace life in a way that does not match the trauma narrative at all. He is actually laughing at points, making jokes about royal life. The whole vibe is just off from everything the public has been hearing for years. And you cannot unhear it once you have heard it. And then you hear Meghan's voice in the background. She is coaching him, actually coaching him on what to say, how to frame things, and which talking points to hit in upcoming interviews. You can literally hear her going through the script with him, fine-tuning the messaging, and making sure he knows exactly how to position certain stories for maximum impact. She is telling him which details to emphasize, which emotions to show, and how to make it all land with the audience. Get this, Nothing was spontaneous. That emotional Oprah interview where millions watched Harry pour his heart out, it was rehearsed. Those carefully chosen words about his family, the ones that made headlines around the world, were scripted beforehand. Every pause, every emotional beat, every revelation that felt so raw and real, it was all planned out in advance. They had practiced it multiple times. People had believed Harry was finally speaking his truth, but this recording showed something totally different: strategy sessions, message crafting. Two people deliberately constructing a narrative they were about to sell to the world as authentic pain. The backlash was instant and absolutely brutal. Comment sections exploded, and social media went into meltdown mode. People who had defended Harry and Meghan for years started questioning everything. If this was rehearsed, what else was? If they had been planning this narrative all along, were any of their claims actually genuine, or was it all just a performance? The whole foundation of trust they had built with their supporters started cracking wide open. And that is when Harry did something nobody saw coming. He got on a plane, in the middle of the night, no Meghan, no kids, no announcement to the press. Just Harry, alone, heading back to the one place he swore he would never return to, London. The place he had spent years telling the world was toxic and oppressive. And now he is going back. Palace insiders would not confirm it at first, but the whispers started immediately. He's in the UK, he's been spotted, he's staying somewhere quiet. And here is what made everyone lose their minds. He was not hiding from the royals this time. He was actually meeting with them. Sources say he is staying at a private countryside estate, somewhere with royal connections but away from the public eye. Just Harry, alone with his thoughts, probably for the first time in years. For the first time since leaving, he is moving toward the institution instead of running away from it. The rebel prince who burned every bridge just flew back into the arms of that same system. Let that sink in. No security detail, no PR strategy, no Netflix cameras. Just a quiet escape that screams one thing: he is questioning everything. Every choice he has made, every bridge he has burned. And Meghan's entire operation is panicking because if Harry reconnects with his family, if he realizes maybe the narrative they have been selling is not the whole truth, their entire brand collapses. Everything they have built is based on them versus the palace. But what happens when Harry is no longer sure who the villain actually is? But Perry had one more thing, and this one was nuclear. A document from their time at his mansion titled Strategic Repositioning Plan. It outlined everything: their exit goals, PR messaging, and the timeline for major media appearances. This was not a couple figuring things out as they went along. This was a calculated campaign with target dates and predetermined outcomes. At the bottom, two signatures, Harry's and Meghan's, showing they knew exactly what they were doing from day one. Perry did not release this with a dramatic press conference. He simply let it circulate to the right people, journalists, and royal commentators who would understand what they were looking at. This document showed that the Oprah interview was not a spontaneous outpouring of pain. It was literally on the timeline, scheduled as Phase 1 of their rebrand. The Netflix deal was Phase 2, already outlined before they had even left Perry's property. Every move they had presented as authentic was right there in black and white, premeditated and strategically executed. The whole "we're just living our truth" narrative was a marketing campaign disguised as a personal journey. The backlash was instantaneous. Commentators called it the death of authenticity. Brand experts labeled it a complete collapse of public trust. This was not about whether they had real issues with the palace. It was about the fact that they had sold millions a story of honest truth-telling while operating from a literal script. And Tyler Perry, the man they tried to erase, turned out to be the one who had helped them build it. So, where does that leave them now? Let's talk about the aftermath. Meghan is watching her empire fall apart. That lifestyle brand she had been hyping up flopped spectacularly. The products nobody wanted, the messaging nobody connected with, the whole thing was dead on arrival. Comment sections turned into war zones. People felt played, manipulated, and deceived. Magazines that used to give her glowing profiles are now politely declining her pitches. Brand partnerships that seemed rock solid are quietly dissolving. Nobody wanted to be associated with the mess anymore. The brand was toxic. You cannot sell authenticity when everyone has seen the script. And Harry, sources say he is different now, quieter, more withdrawn. The man who left everything for love is starting to look like someone who is realizing something uncomfortable. He was not escaping control. He was just trading one handler for another. The institution he ran from had centuries of tradition. What he ran to was talking points and timeline spreadsheets. That secret trip to London was not just about seeing family, it was about clarity, about stepping away from the operation long enough to see it from the outside, about understanding that the fairy tale he had been living was really just another carefully constructed narrative. They thought they had outsmarted everyone, but in the end, it was not royalty that destroyed their story. It was not the tabloids or public opinion. It was the receipts. It was Tyler Perry keeping track of everything. It was one friendship they thought they could erase when it became inconvenient. One person who waited patiently for the exact right moment to show everyone what was really happening behind the scenes. And Tyler Perry, he is thriving, his reputation stronger than ever. Because now he is not just a successful mogul, he is seen as someone who protects himself wisely. He is not doing interviews or writing books. He is just existing, unbothered, while everyone knows he still has more in the vault if he needs it. The threat of what he could release is more effective than actually releasing it. He is holding all the cards. Perry proved that the person who quietly keeps track of reality is the one who ends up with all the power. He gave them safety, and when they tried to erase him, he did not get angry. He just opened the vault and let the truth do the talking. So, here is what everyone is trying to figure out. Is Harry actually done? That trip to London was not just a visit. Sources say he has been there longer than anyone expected, and the longer he stays, the more it looks like he is considering something much bigger. If Harry separates himself from Meghan publicly, it is not just a celebrity breakup. It would be a complete repudiation of everything they have built together, every interview, every accusation, every chapter in his book. Because if he goes back to the palace, if he reconciles with the family he called toxic on international television, what does that say about everything he has been saying? It unravels the whole thing. It would mean admitting that maybe the palace was not the villain after all. Maybe the family he accused of terrible things actually had legitimate concerns. And that is a hard pill to swallow. Meghan's team knows this. They are worried about losing him as the validation for their entire narrative. Without Harry standing beside her, saying, yes, it was that bad, her whole story starts looking different. But Harry spent years burning bridges. He has said things about his family you cannot just take back. So, even if he wants to come back, can he? Will they take him back? Or has he damaged those relationships so badly that there is no path home? That is the real question. Harry is wrestling with the biggest decision of his life. Stay with Meghan and watch everything continue to fall apart, knowing it was all built on a script. Or go back to the family he destroyed his relationship with, admit he was wrong, and try to rebuild something from the ashes? Neither option is good. Both require him to admit he messed up massively. The question is, which mistake is he willing to own, leaving in the first place, or staying after he knew the truth? Tyler Perry is sitting pretty, his reputation stronger than ever. Meghan's empire is crumbling. And Harry, he is the one caught in the middle, probably realizing he did not escape control. He just traded one set of handlers for another. One had centuries of tradition, the other had talking points. They thought they had beaten the system, but it was not the palace that destroyed them. It was one man keeping receipts. The biggest question now is Harry coming back for good? Is he done with California, done with the performance? Or will he choose to stay and keep pretending everything they built was real? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Harry is coming back to the royal family or staying in California? And if you want to stay updated on this chaos, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because this story is nowhere near over. Smash that like button if this whole situation has you as shocked as everyone else. I will see you in the next one.